This is dangerous. And I think what they are preparing is to destroy our democracy, the way we have elections in this country. And the Congresswoman is absolutely correct. Make no mistake, and let's be crystal clear. If Donald Trump gets reelected, there is no doubt that he will try to stay in office beyond his 4-year term. He will destroy this country, our democracy. He'll change the way we run elections. He'll attack secretaries of state, and he'll do everything he can in his power to stay in office. And the country that we know of today, we will no longer have. It's sobering, it's scary, but we have to take it seriously. This is a person that we have to take at his word. And so we have to do everything that we can between now and the election to strengthen, support our local election officials, ask the Department of Justice to be prepared, and most importantly, to reelect, of course, President Biden.
All right, Congresswoman Waters, in the minute that we have left, Donald Trump told Time that he intends to pursue policies that would address what he calls a, quote, definite anti-white feeling in this country. And he says it's a feeling that, quote, can't be allowed. Given the attacks on affirmative action, DEI initiatives, and the grab bag of grievance that critical race theory has become, will that reverse racism narrative work with the American people at the ballot box in November?
One of the things we better know is we cannot chance that it won't work. We know that there are people who are aligned with him, who follow him, who are already practicing what their government is going to be under Trump. Not only are they planning on a civil war if they have to do that, but he's spelling it out specifically how and what they're going to do and how he's going to get revenge, how he's going to attack his enemies, all of these things. And when he talks about race, we know, and I'm going to tell you again today, Donald Trump is a pure racist. And I am worried that the attack is going to be on people of color.
We're going to have to leave this part of the, just when it was getting hot. We're going to have to leave it here. Congresswoman Maxine Waters is sticking around for the hour. Congressman Robert Garcia, as always, thank you very much for coming to the Sunday show. And joining me now to continue this conversation is Michael Fanone, former D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer, Courage for America Council member, and author of Hold the Line, The Insurrection, and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul. Officer Fanone, as always, thank you very much for coming to the Sunday show. You know, Donald Trump has repeatedly pledged to pardon January 6th insurrectionists, and that could potentially include the man who attacked you with a stun gun. What do you think of that possibility?
I think it's sickening. I mean, the idea that a president or presidential candidate in the United States of America would align himself with individuals who assaulted police officers who are simply doing their job, like myself, on January 6, 2021 at the United States Capitol.
Mm-hmm. Michael, some are still downplaying the January 6th, what happened on January 6th, including Republicans who were there. Listen to what Senator J.D. Vance said on CNN on Wednesday.
I'm extremely skeptical that Mike Pence's life was ever in danger. I think politics people like to really exaggerate things from time to time. I know a lot of folks in the Democratic Party.
Senator.
A lot of folks in the Democratic Party, Caitlin, act as if January the 6th was the scariest moment of their lives. I think, look, January 6th was a bad day. It was a riot. But the idea that Donald Trump endangered anyone's lives when he told them to protest peacefully, it's just absurd.
Officer Fanone, why are he and others continuously trying to rewrite the history of that day?
Because it doesn't serve their own interests and the interests of their political party, the Republican Party. I mean, listen, I understand how inconvenient it is for people like J.D. Vance and other Republicans to admit that it was their leader, former President Donald Trump, who inspired and incited an insurrection on January 6th at the United States Capitol in an attempt to subvert democracy and hold on to power. That being said, I mean, that's the reality. You know, this is not a policy debate. This is a debate as to the reality of a day inspired by a Republican leader, carried out by his supporters, in an act of extreme violence, brutal violence against police officers.
Officer Fanone, when asked in that Time magazine interview about the prospect of political violence regarding the outcome of November's election, Trump said, and I'm quoting, "It depends. It always depends on the fairness of an election." Is that an invitation to his supporters to carry out another January 6th, do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, everything in that article, was exactly what I've come to expect from the former president. His statements are in his own self-interest, not in what's best for this country. And they're sick. The idea that he would refuse to commit to the peaceful transfer of power, one of the most basic, fundamental principles of any United States politician, in adhering to the U.S. Constitution. And he refuses to do that. And we all know why. In his mind, elections are honest if he wins them, and they're dishonest or rigged if he loses. But 60 plus courts in the previous election told us that this was an honest and fair election, and that Donald Trump lost and Joe Biden is our president.
And with that, we're going to leave it there. Former Metropolitan D.C. police officer Michael Fanone, as always.